Hello everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Fangirls Only. I'm your host, Vanessa Fermo, and today joining me is Myah Mayhew. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I've been awake for like 4 hours already. I've got my Celsius, so I'm ready to go.
Oh wow. Okay, so your song Prison House came out a few months ago, and I listened to it last night, and it's honestly really good. So, what was your
Thank
creative
you.
process when you were making it?
Yeah, so um Prison House I actually wrote about 2 years ago. And I mean, you listen to it, it's a very emotional and can be somewhat triggering of a song to record and to sing. And it's kind of about just like some pretty tough experiences that I went through in high school and that my friends went through in high school. And a lot of times when I write now, that comes from a place of just like having to write for school or having to write for things to release. But that song just came from a moment of need to get that emotion out. And it was a really just like cathartic creative process for me. So I was just kind of sitting on the acoustic version for a while, and recently, now that I'm with Jupiter Records, I was like, okay, this is the time to get this song out. I finally had the time to just really process all those emotions and look at it from a different life situation. And I knew I wanted that gritty rock and roll kind of heart, the Pretty Reckless type sound. So yeah, we got in the studio the day before New Year's Eve. Actually, I finished out 2023 in the studio, which was amazing. And we tracked it in like I want to say like 12 hours. And my producer and engineer Carson Ade, he really helped a lot with like the creative process, all the synth sounds. He did the guitar solo, and yeah, it really flowed. It all came together pretty quickly.
Okay, so I also seen that you've done some performances lately and are doing a lot more within the next few months. So, what has been your favorite
Yes.
song to perform live?
Oh, to perform live. Of my songs, definitely Prison House. I just played a gig with my band at Andy's Denton recently, and we closed out on that one, and it ends on that big guitar solo, so that was a pretty cool moment. But, besides my songs, I've been really loving the song "Bad Spell" by Larkin Poe recently. I think my band really loves that one too, so that's always a fun one to do live.
Yes. So, speaking of shows, if you were to host a music festival like Coachella, which is happening this weekend, and you were to have three artists you want to head, what are three artists that you want to headline the festival?
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Probably, I think he might have headlined a few years ago, but I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, so probably get Kendrick or some kind of, hip hop act. I love Hozier as well, definitely Hozier, and then, recently I've been loving, like, just more country vibes, like a Colter Wall, Tyler Childers, Turnpike Troubadours would be super cool. But I'm also really, really into rock and roll, so I'm gonna have to say like Greta Van Fleet as well. That would be a stacked festival.
So, what is the most important lesson you have learned since starting to work in the music industry?
I'd say the most important lesson, as like cliche and oversaid as this is to really just stick to who you are as an artist. 'Cause I found that there are a lot of people that have a lot of different opinions about you and your art and what kind of sound you should go for, and that's all great. Like, I have a great team behind me that gives me wonderful advice about, like, sounds to go for and what to release next, but you have to be careful about what advice you listen to, because at the end of the day, like, the songs that you're writing, if you are a singer-songwriter like I am, they're stemming from a very, like, personal and emotional place. Like, a lot of the songs that I write are, like, my children, basically, and, I think it's just really important to stick to what you know is right for the song, regardless of what anyone else is saying, while also balancing that with, being open to collaboration. Because, like, with Prison House, a lot of my favorite things about that song were not my idea, and I was actually skeptical about at first. But yeah, it's just finding that balance between knowing what you want and going for what you want, but also surrounding yourself with a good group of creative people that can help you get there.
So since we talked about performances recently, what is your dream venue to perform at?
Oh my gosh, I would have to say my dream venue to perform at would probably be Red Rocks in Colorado. I've actually never seen a show there, but I've been there a couple times and just like walked around just the venue and like gotten up close to the stage. And there's some really good hiking trails. I'm a big like hiking, camping person, so I've done the Red Rocks hikes a couple of times, and I watched the Greta Van Fleet Live at Red Rocks concert film, like, religiously, like, probably once a week. It's actually an addiction, but just I feel like there's just an energy that you get from performing in an environment like that, that you just really can't get anywhere else. But also, I am at House of Blues in Dallas, like, all the time, just seeing different shows, so that would be cool to do a hometown show at House of Blues for sure.
Nice. So I've seen that you went to a lot of concerts over the past few years. So which one has been your favorite that you went to?
Oh my gosh. That's so hard. Well, the last one I went to has actually been one of my favorites recently. I saw Extreme in Living Color at House of Blues. That was just amazing to get to see, like, so many guitar legends and just, like, legends in general just absolutely shred. I also got to see Jeff Beck before he passed away, and I've seen ZZ Top, I've seen Heart, but my favorite recently has probably been Greta Van Fleet, just because their music has impacted me on such, like, I don't know, almost like a spiritual level, and, I have made some really good friends through their music, and it's just, like, it's a whole experience because traveling to the venue, and we always, like, dress to the nines for their shows. It's, like, a very big thing to dress up for Greta shows, and it's just, like, it just doesn't get any better than that. That's one of the tightest, like, shows that I've ever gotten the privilege to experience, but, yeah, and I'm seeing Hozier in a few weeks with a few of my friends, so I know that's gonna be a great one also. But, yeah, I've been very blessed to see, like, around 60 shows, I think, so it's a pretty big hobby of mine. My bank account definitely hates me sometimes, but it's worth it in my opinion.
Love that. I think I'm seeing Noah Kahan on Sunday, so that'll be fun.
Yes. I saw him last year. We were, Barricade at
Oh,
House of Blues Dallas, and it was insane.
that's like a smaller venue, is it? No, is it?
Mhm.
I've never
Yeah,
been.
so it's about I wanna say it's about, I don't know, 1,500 maybe? But yeah, it's pretty
Maybe.
small. It definitely feels small because that was, like, right as he was starting to blow up, so he was still playing those smaller venues, but it was, like, really, really hard to get tickets, and
Oh,
then, like, a couple months after that, he started playing, like, arenas, so I definitely saw him at, like, the perfect time.
it's crazy how like fast like things move for singers. Like last year he just performed at like smaller venues, now he's like selling out arenas like
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, like Madison.
Yeah, it's wild.
So this is the last question. And did you always want to be a singer, or was there any other jobs growing up that you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, so I have, always been interested in a lot of different things, but music has always been the forefront. Like, people always ask me, like, "When did you start singing?" And I always tell them, "I don't know." Like, I've just always done it. My parents tell me stories of, like, even before I could talk, really, I would just be making sounds or, like, trying to figure out how to play the piano at, like, age 2. So it's just always been just, like, a part of me, and I've known that this is something that I could never like, I could never live my life without music. That's been a given, but I did go through a brief phase where I wanted to be a microbiologist. I don't know, couldn't tell you. Little Maya was interesting, but that was, like, all elementary school. I was like, "I'm gonna be a scientist, and I'm gonna cure cancer," and yeah, that's not happening, but yeah, my dad's a musician as well, so I would just grow up with vinyls constantly playing. I would help my dad, like, build his vinyl shelves. He took me to all my first concerts, and he's just, like, really invested in me as a musician, and, I think just because of that upbringing, I could never do anything but music.
So those are the questions. So thank you so much for coming on. It was great having you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye.
Bye.